Hey guys, welcome to HRG Zone YouTube channel. And today I am gonna show you the top 25 best 16GB RAM and 6GB VRam PC games 2024. So sit back and relax. Starting off number 25. Assassin's Creed Origins is an action role-playing video game played from a third-person perspective. Players complete quests, linear scenarios with set objectives, to progress through the story, and can freely roam the open-world environment on foot, horseback, camelback, horse-drawn vehicles, or boat. Number 24 is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War's campaign allows players to assume a custom character, codenamed Bell, with the ability to choose their intelligence agency, skin tone, nationality, and gender, as well as different personality traits that provide in-game perks. The campaign features multiple endings, dependent on player choice throughout the campaign. Number 23 is Batman: Arkham Knight is an action-adventure game set within an open-world Gotham City, which can be explored freely by the player from the beginning of the game, allowing them to travel seamlessly anywhere within its boundaries. Many of the gadgets and the gameplay elements from the previous Arkham games return, including the grapnel gun, line launcher, batarangs, the countering system, detective vision, and the remote hacking device. Number 22 is Cyberpunk 2077 is an action role-playing game played from a first-person perspective as V. The open-world metropolis of Night City consists of 6 regions: the corporate city center, immigrant-inhabited Watson, luxurious Westbrook, suburban Haywood, gang-infested Pacifica, and industrial Santo Domingo. Its surrounding area, the Badlands, can also be explored. Number 21 is Bright Memory Infinite is a first-person shooter with melee elements. Players take control of Shalia, who, in addition to using guns and a sword, also has supernatural abilities such as psychokinesis and unleashing energy blasts. Success in combat awards experience points that can be used to augment the character's skills and to unlock more abilities such as stopping time. Number 20 is Days Gone is a third-person action-adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic open world. The player controls Deacon St. John, an outlaw-turned-drifter bounty hunter who prefers life on the road to wilderness encampments. The game takes place 2 years after a pandemic killed almost all of humanity and transformed millions of others into freakers, mindless, zombie-like creatures that evolve quickly. Number 19 is Elden Ring is an action role-playing game, play in third-person perspective. Players can freely explore the lands between and its 6 main areas, which include Limgrave, an area of grassy plains and ancient ruins, and Caelid, a wasteland that is home to undead monsters. The open world is explored using the character's Mount Torrent as the main mode of transportation, though players may use fast travel outside combat. Number 18 is Dead Island 2 takes place in Los Angeles in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. At the beginning of the game, players have to select from one of 6 playable characters as their player avatar called a Slayer. Each of them has their own unique skills and abilities. They also have to choose from one of 2 defensive abilities, either learning to block hostile attacks, or dodge them. The game's world is divided into 10 different zones. Number 17 is Far Cry 6 is a first-person shooter game, set in an open-world environment navigable on foot or via various land, water, and air vehicles. Players assume the role of a local rebel named Danny Rojas, a former conscript in the military turned into a guerrilla fighter, whose gender they can select at the start of the game. The world is divided into 7 main regions with an array of terrain, ranging from urban areas and dense jungles, to mountain ranges and open oceans. Number 16 is Dying Light 2 is an action role-playing survival horror video game featuring a zombie apocalyptic-themed open world. Players can perform actions such as climbing ledges, sliding, leaping off from edges, and wall running to quickly navigate the city. It was confirmed that there are over 3,000 parkour animations to give a more fluid free-running experience. Number 15 is God of War is an action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The player controls the character Kratos in combo-based combat and puzzle game elements. The gameplay is vastly different from previous games, as it was completely rebuilt. Number 14 is Just Cause 3 is an action-adventure game with a third-person perspective. It is set in an open-world environment on the fictional Mediterranean island nation of Medici. The world size is 400 square miles. It is possible for the player to explore caverns and scale buildings more effectively and realistically. Number 13 is Kina, Bridge of Spirits is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. The player controls Kina, a young spirit guide with magical abilities. In combat, the player uses Kina's staff for light, heavy, and charged attacks. An upgrade transforms the staff into a bow, which can be used to attack enemies, act as a grappling hook, or hit crystals to solve puzzles. Number 12 is Mafia, Definitive Edition is an action-adventure game developed by Hangar 13 and published by 2K. Players control Tommy Angelo throughout the game's single-player campaign, and its world is navigated on foot or by vehicle. Number 11 is Need for Speed Unbound is a racing game set in a fictional city called Lakeshore City, which is based on Chicago. It features an open-world environment and gameplay similar to that of previous entries in the series, being mainly focused around street racing. Number 10 is Marvel Spider-Man is an open-world action-adventure game set in the borough of Manhattan in a fictionalized version of modern-day New York City. It is presented from a third-person perspective showing the playable character and allowing the camera to be rotated freely around them. The primary playable character is the superhero Spider-Man. Number 9 is Red Dead Redemption 2 is a Western-themed action-adventure game. Played from a first- or third-person perspective, the game is set in an open-world environment featuring a fictionalized version of the United States in 1899. They may engage in combat with enemies using melee attacks, firearms, bow and arrow, throwables, or explosives, and can dual-wield weapons. Number 8 is Metro Exodus is a first-person shooter. The player controls player character Artyom, who must leave the tunnels of Moscow and travel across the post-apocalyptic wasteland of the former Russian Federation and Republic of Kazakhstan while fighting against mutated creatures and hostile humans. The game occurs in one in-game year. Environments change along with the seasons as the story progresses. Number 7 is Resident Evil 3 is a survival horror third-person shooter game. Although the player controls Resident Evil protagonist Jill Valentine through most of the game, certain sections require the player to control a supporting character, Carlos Oliveira, for short periods. The player must explore the environment to open doors, climb up ladders, and pick up items. When an item is collected, it is stored in an inventory that can be accessed at any time. Number 6 is State of Decay 2 is a zombie survival game, with an emphasis on scavenging for items, in which gameplay is experienced from a third-person view. The game is set in an open-world environment and features cooperative gameplay with up to 3 other players. The player can choose from several locations to build a base, then reinforce and improve it with various facilities like watchtowers, gardens, sleeping quarters, kitchens, workshops, medical bays, etc. Number 5 is The Last of Us, an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. The player traverses post-apocalyptic environments to advance the story, and uses firearms, improvised weapons, hand-to-hand combat, and stealth to defend against hostile humans and cannibalistic creatures known as the Infected, who have been infected by a mutated strain of the cordyceps fungus. Number 4 is Street Fighter 6 features 3 overarching game modes: Fighting Ground, World Tour, and Battle Hub. Fighting Ground contains local and online versus battles as well as training and arcade modes, all featuring similar 2D fighting gameplay to the previous games in the series, in which two fighters use a variety of attacks and special abilities to knock out their opponent. Number 3 is Watch Dogs. Legion is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective, and taking place within an open-world setting based upon London, which can be explored either on foot utilizing parkour moves vehicles, or fast-traveling via the city's underground stations. Number 2 is Uncharted. Legacy of Thieves collection includes the two remastered, critically acclaimed, globe-trotting single-player adventures from Uncharted 4, A Thief's End and Uncharted, The Lost Legacy. And number 1 is World War Z is a heart-pounding co-op third-person shooter for up to 4 players featuring swarms of hundreds of zombies that has now captivated over 20 million players. Based on the Paramount Pictures film, World War Z focuses on fast-paced gameplay while exploring new storylines from around the world. So that's all, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, so please like this video and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to notifications. So thanks again and see you soon on next video. And good, bye.